Welcome, everyone. I'm Joe Bareback. This is Joe Bareback Music, where we listen and wonder. Today, like every Wednesday at noon, I am live streaming a creativity workshop, composer's workshop. Today, we're going to start with a marimba improvisation, but in fact, we're going to start with, I still have some more microphone setting up to do. So come along for the ride. You can watch me set up, and if you're watching this after the fact, you can skip forward 10 to 15 minutes if you want to just listen to the marimba improvisation. But I'm gonna improvise on marimba. We're gonna listen back and hear if there's anything in that improvisation that I want to keep, hang on to, record in written form, and then I'm gonna shift gears and do some editing on a score I wrote for band a couple, I guess it's 3 years ago now. Yeah, 2023. In anticipation of adding it to my portfolio of works that I'm going to submit to schools where I apply for doctoral programs. So I'm going to set up my camera here. Turn this one off so nobody gets dizzy. And then I'll put it on the stand. And first thing I'm going to do is set up the microphones. Once I get the marimba set up, I'll talk a little bit about why I incorporate improvisation into my regular practice routine as a composer and as a percussionist. But once I finish that, we'll get going with the actual music. If you're new to the channel, something you're going to discover is I can't really talk and think at the same time. So there's plenty of moments where you're just watching me do things in this music studio here. This is my office hours, I call it. So if you have any questions, hop on the live stream. I'm going to go check out the live stream now. And if anyone has a question, great. I'd love to have a moderator, but it's just me. So I was going to say, if anyone has a question, pop it in the chat, and when I stop and look at the chat, I'll answer it. Oh yeah, this is a celebration, by the way. You can see here, I got to 50 subscribers. That was my goal by the end of the summer. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in, and tell other folks about this channel. It's sort of an antidote to the saturated, attention-grabbing, clickbaity things that are so popular online. For me personally, those things are very hard to watch and experience. They're too much. In fact, this morning and yesterday, I've been, actually the whole last week, I've been reducing sound in my environment after really discovering just how disruptive a noisy environment is to me. And it's been very effective. I've, for months, been unable to sleep a full night, and yesterday I slept a full 9 hours, which is really what my body seems to need. The day before I slept 10 hours, so I was tired all day yesterday. That's okay. I'm sure I needed the rest. Anyway, type your questions in there if you've got them. I am going to turn this camera back on and move it back a bit. Very effective. I've for months been unable to sleep a full night, and yesterday I slept a full 9 hours, which is really many ways to adjust. My body seems to need. There we go. The day before I slept 10 hours, so I was tired all day yesterday. That's okay. I'm sure I needed the rest. Anyway, further, type your questions in there if you've got them. I am going to turn this camera back on. And there we go. All right, so I'm going to set up these microphones in an XY pattern. That's going to give the microphones a single point of reference over the marimba. But one's going to point to the bass, the other's going to point to the treble. All right, take the cover off. Excuse me. Had some allergies this week. Turn this camera back on. Really just yesterday and today. There we go. A little bit of extra drainage. These microphones in an XY pattern. That's going to give the microphones a single point of reference over the marimba. So one's going to point to the bass, the other's going to point to the treble. All right. Take the cover off. Excuse me. Had some allergies. Now, going. Really just yesterday and today. I'm going to check where the middle of the marimba is. I kind of know it's around this B flat. Yeah, right around there. And I'm going to raise up. Alright, this more or less situated. Now, going. And then this in approximately that place as well. I'm going to check where the middle of the marimba is. I kind of know it's around this B flat. Yeah, right around there. All right. With my step stool, I'll be able to get a little bit of a different perspective on exactly where these microphones are. Today, since this is something of an exploration, I'm not too concerned about them being in the perfect spot. But, you know, we might capture something. Who knows? I might play something cool. Everything I play might sound terrible. You might go, stop playing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to play yet. I mean, I'll tell you the guidelines, the limitations I'm going to put on myself. But I don't know what I'm going to play yet. It's improvised. An exploration. I'm not too concerned about them being in the perfect spot. But, you know, we might capture something. Who knows? I might play something cool. Everything I play might sound terrible. You might go, stop playing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to play yet. I'll tell you the guidelines, the limitations I'm going to put on myself. But I don't know what I'm going to play yet. It's improvised. An exploration. I'm not too concerned about them being in the perfect spot. But, you know, we might capture something. Who knows? I might play something cool. Now I'm going to look right down here. I don't know what I'm going to play. See that I'm not quite pointed I'll tell you where I want to be. The limitations I'm going to put on myself. But I don't know what I'm going to play yet. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to look right down here. I don't know what I'm going to play. See that I'm not quite pointed where I want to be. The limitations I'm going to put on myself. But I don't know what I'm going to play yet. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to look right down here. See that I'm not quite pointed where I want to be. So, I learned recording techniques during my master's degree in composition at NIU from the studio recording techniques class I took, taught by Carrie Ann Chandler. And that was an awesome class. My recordings have started to sound better since then. Once I get some more money, get a few more microphones, I can have even more electric or even more vibrant recordings. Right now, I'm working with just the two dynamic microphones. Degree in composition at NIU and they're quality microphones, so I get a quality sound. But if I had a few more microphones, I could make the sound richer, warmer, have a wider expanse of the sonic and more field that we're in. All right, so this kind of shows the microphone shape. You see they meet at a 90-degree angle. I'm working with just the two dynamic microphones. This one points toward the treble end. This one points toward the bass end. I myself, what I do with my XLR cables, which, by the way, XLR simply means X for ground, L for left, R for right. So what I do, what I've done with my XLR cables, can't see it that well. See, can you see there's a 1? Yeah, it's wearing off. There's a 1 there. There's a very faint 1 written on here. What I do with my XLR and then on this XLR cable, which, by the way, you can see much more clearly X for ground, the 2 that's written on there, R for right, and the 2 that's written on here. What I've done with my XLR cable. At some point, I'll use my marker to make that a little darker. I guess I could print a sticker or something. At any rate, this makes it easy for me when I'm setting up the microphones to know, wait, which microphone's plugged into 1 and which one's plugged into 2. So I like to put treble on 1, bass on 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is one of the trickier stages of recording. You get the microphones placed. Oh yeah, why was I mentioning Carrie Ann Chandler? Because she said the most time-consuming aspect of recording is setting up the microphones. And it also makes the biggest difference in the sound. Where is that microphone pointed? Where is it placed? Alright, so we got them placed. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then, this is one of the trickier stages of plug in the treble recording here. Get the microphones placed. Oh yeah, why was I mentioning Carrie Ann Chandler? Slack off of the she said cable. The most time-consuming aspect of recording is setting up the microphones, and it also makes the biggest difference. Wrap it around the stand here. Pointed. Where is it placed? So the cable doesn't touch the instrument. And I coil up the excess down at the bottom of the stand. I don't have to run very far to get to my, what is this thing called? And I'm just going to point the camera here. Oh yeah, audio interface. Boom. Plug it in. And do the same thing with the other one. So the cable doesn't touch the instrument. Then once the microphones are set, I will coil up the excess. Check to see if I need to adjust anything. Down at the bottom of the stand. Because I know I bump the stands a little bit as I get these cables plugged in. What is this thing called? And I'm just going to point the camera here. Oh yeah, audio interface. Shift it a little bit. Plug it in. And do the same thing with the other one. Then once the microphones are set, I will coil up the excess. Check to see if I need to adjust anything at the bottom of the stand. Because I know I bump the stands a little bit as I get these cables plugged in. This one still has the cable clip. The other 3 cable clips that came with these stands have cracked and are useless. Do the same thing with the other one. This one has not, and it makes it very convenient. But I'm not buying any more since those ones that came with it were very, whatever the opposite of durable is. Brittle. This one still has the, I don't know. Alright, I'm going to run this cable, the other 3 cable clips over here. Stands have cracked and are useless. Plug it in. And it makes it very convenient. I'm not buying any more. Excess cable is going to ones that came with it were very... Just be coiled up there. The opposite of durable is. Fantastic. All right. So we're plugged in. Everything's good there. I'll double check the position. Double check. Yeah, definitely needs some adjusting there. I'm not buying any more cable. Is going to ones that came with it were very. Just be coiled up there. The opposite of durable. Fantastic. All right. So we're plugged in. So right now it's sitting over the A. I'll double check the position. I think this B is the very center of it. So what I'm going to do is just adjust the placement of the marimba. Since the microphones are in a nice pattern here, I just do that. Now they're centered. Fantastic. All right. So we're plugged in. And then I was just making sure that the microphone stand is not the very center of it. So what I'm going to do is touching the marimba frame itself. I'm going to use a metronome in today's improvisation. I just do that. Now, at other times, I have set up a trap table, and I now am discovering why I was doing that in the past. And then I was just making sure that my extension cable for my headphones is I'm going to use a metronome in today's improvisation. A little bit on the short side. I think it's only, what is this, 6 feet long? So I have set up a trap table as a result. Relatively short cable means it's kind of hard for me to get the cable to go all the way to the other side of the marimba. There we are. I have to check the connections on all these things. I think it's only, but now I have more space, or more length. I have much less space when it comes to standing in front of the computer here. But there you have it. That's my setup. Cable. Wish that I could control which camera to lens on my phone is used. I think I would much prefer to have the fisheye here. There we are. I have to check the connections on all these things. Bumping into stuff as I talk and explain what I'm doing while I'm trying to do it. Much less space when it comes to standing. All right, I got some mallets. Let's get our levels set in. Wish that I could control which camera. So what I'll do is pause this. Make sure I don't have any interference there. Mute it, and we'll go to live. Audio engine is off. Okay. Do we have the Scarlet? Yes. In, out. Now I gotta get the level set on the microphones. I'm not doing any MIDI channels right now. We got external in 1, external in 2. We've got the stereo going. I like to keep them on separate tracks because then I can individually adjust each microphone. You can create stereo tracks. Let's see, how would I do that? Oh yeah, you just do this. That would make this a stereo track. But then I think there are ways to adjust the balance between the two, but you don't have quite as much leeway. I think you can separate them into 2 tracks later, but anyway, this is how I do it. Let's make both of these colors. going to go with this light blue. And these MIDI tracks, we'll go with a green. All right, and rename this MAR, that's extension external 1, that means that's the treb. MAR, treb, and MAR bass. Now what I like to do is have the treble all the way on my right. It's disorienting for me if I'm listening and I hear the bass on my right, because I'm so used to playing the instrument with the bass on the left. So I get disoriented when I listen to recordings where the sound stage is from the audience perspective. That's just me. A little peculiarity for me. All right, now my click, I'm going to put this at 90. I did a little test last night with my metronome where I was, what's the word? I was trying to do a dry run of this improvisation, but also I was practicing last night. And 90 beats per minute gave me a lot of flexibility to switch between one meter and another. And I'm just going to make this 1/4. That way I just get the same click every time. So check out what happens when I do that. Before, when this was 4/4, this was measure 5, because there's 4 beats in a measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4 measures gave us measure 5. Now when there's only 1 beat in a measure, each of those beats becomes its own measure, measure 17. But this, having 1 click, is going to allow me freedom to switch between meters, and then we just have a steady pulse. All right, and get my headphones. These are headphones made by Shure, S-H-U-R-E, but I got these ear molds made after the fact. Went to an audiologist and got molds made of my ear. First thing they had to do was clear out any wax that was in there. Then they injected them with some sort of foam, sent them off to the company that makes these, and then they came back, and then I put them on the headphones. It was a bit of an investment, but it's been really helpful, especially for recording drum set and that sort of thing. All right, I'm going to get a level set on my audio interface. So I should, whoops, cancel, tab, go to OBS and turn off the MacBook mic, and we shall see if there's still sound. Trying to get my other keyboard, my wireless keyboard, to connect here. Try powering it down and powering it back up. There we go. Connect. Says it's connected. Let's test it out. Yay, it's connected. All right. Level looks good. The next thing to test is this recording. If I put this right here, I can control the computer from here. All right. Now I have a little more space, length to work with on my headphones. You can see if the click works. Yep. Okay, let's give this a save. Improvisation. Can't see that far. Well, actually I can. We're gonna go here. What do we have? Arrangements, chamber music. I think I'm gonna call this a journal. I have a whole bunch of audio recordings in here in something I call my music journal. All right, let's hear how that sounds. Does it sound like a marimba? Yeah, sounds like a marimba. I just think maybe we're going to put a little bit of reverb. We're going to go with a -33. Enter. A little -33 here. A little delay, we'll go with -44. This is a good approximate for a very subtle effect. Oops, didn't get the -44 here. -44. What we'll do here, we're going to go -29, and here as well, -29. I could just group these together and do it once. All right, that's good enough for now. I'm not trying to make it perfect. I can always adjust that later, but it's at least pleasant to listen to. There's a little bit of warmth to the sound that really is not present here in the space. Oh, I love these mallets. I've had them for several years now, and they've just finally gotten to the point where some of the threads have busted. Well, I think I might use different mallets then. I'm going to hear how these work down in the low range. NM Encore and Name Amora, 2 R's that I have rewrapped. All right, I'm going to turn off that MacBook microphone so we get some decent sound. I'm going to check to see if anybody's here in the chat. Nobody yet. All right, no big deal. On to the improvising stage. Actually, should we adjust the camera a little bit? All right, now you can see me from 2 different angles. And all right, it's time for me to explain a little bit. I'll turn this microphone back on so I don't have to be in such an awkward position. All right, so yesterday night, knowing that I need to continue gaining more facility with C major, I often tell people I find this to be one of the hardest scales to play in. It's not that it's hard to find the notes, it's that it's hard to keep them distinct from one another in my eyes, especially when I do certain maneuvers. 2 notes repeated, or if I play really fast. You can hear right there I've already missed a few notes. And so I made a rule for myself at first I was like, I'm just going to practice my scale, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm a composer. I don't have to just play C to D over and over again. I can get creative with it and have fun, and also work on the intuitive sense of where I am in the scale and that sort of thing. So there's sort of 2 components to composing. One of them is very cerebral, intellectual. You comprehend the theory of moving from one tonal area to the other, how the rhythms interlock and everything. The other is very unruly in the sense that it ignores rules. It's that intuitive sense, that sense that gives the music life. So it's not just cold, hard theory. It's a human expression. And so as a composer, I want to be able to keep both of those elements alive in everything I do. Today's live stream is starting with giving me some work on that creativity that's intuitive, and then I'm going to do some of that intellectual creativity as the subsequent stuff, or subsequent half of this live stream, this creativity workshop. So there's a few things going on. Intellectually, I know as a percussionist I need to improve my skills and facility with C major. So I am going to limit my notes to just the naturals. I'm not going to hit any of these notes up here. All my creativity is going to happen down here. I'm going to have the metronome on, and I might turn it off at some point if I want to move away from that rhythmic aspect of the playing. But I'm going to start with it on because it's a good tempo to switch between duple and triple subdivisions. And each of those gives me a unique metrical framework to relate to the pitches of the scale. I'm not going to always be in C major. Sometimes I'll be in A minor, which uses the same white notes of the scale, but I might switch around with lots of different modes, and sometimes I'll just be working on a technical thing, other times I'll be morphing into something more expressive. I'll be playing sequences, which is just like the same pattern, where you then move it down a note or up a note. So that's moving it down a note. Here would be the same thing, moving it up a note. And so that helps me when I'm improvising say, oh, I'm kind of curious about this melodic fragment or something. Let me hear how it shifts around on the scale. But I don't know exactly what I'm going to play. All I know is I'm going to limit myself to just the naturals, those notes that on a piano keyboard would be the white keys. And the reason I'm doing it is a technical reason. I, myself, as a percussionist, need to continue to develop facility on this. So in this improvisation, there's no doubt you're going to hear some wrong notes, some mistakes, some things that my body is still learning how to do with facility. And then we might discover some gems. And this is why I say in my description of the video, we're panning for gold. This is a huge part of my composition workflow is spending time improvising, listening back, and thinking, that's saying something there that I want to say, or that sounds like something I want to explore more. Let me transcribe what that is, and then get the analytical part of the mind going. And so I go back and forth between these two modes of thinking about music, intuitively and analytically. And those two in tandem move me closer to my goal of mastery of music. And in some senses, people might say, yeah, you've already mastered certain aspects of it. Fine. I know I'm never going to run out of things to master in music. As I get closer to that place where I think I've got it, my body is going to start deteriorating. Music's a lifelong journey. And thanks for joining me on this part of it. All right, enough talking. The first thing I'm going to be doing is playing, getting my body warmed up, acclimated to these white notes of the piano here on the marimba, the naturals, the C major notes. And then I'm going to be removing this descriptive brain function that I've been using since noon to describe to you everything I'm doing. All right. I am exiting the realm of words and entering the realm of notes. See, nobody's here yet? No problem. All right. Turn on my metronome, and I'm going to improvise for several minutes. Alright, my initial impression is that there's really not much gold in that improvisation. Felt pretty uninspired, but I kept going anyway for the sake of practice. I am very hot. I'm going to turn on the air conditioning. I'll be right back. Alright, nobody's here to ask a question. I'll be right back. Whew. All right. Let's listen back to at least some of this. I might skip portions. The opening portion there was really just a matter of playing scales. I'm going to turn off the metronome here so we just listen to it. So I'm listening to hear if anything stands out to my ear as a cool melodic fragment or anything of that nature. I'm going to skip ahead. We're just playing scales. One thing I forgot to mention is last night when I was improvising, I had given myself a rule that everything had to be stepwise motion. I was starting out in that mode here, but shifted. Okay. Now we're in the triplets. The triplets are intriguing. Just because there's less music written in triplet subdivisions. At least nowadays, there's not a whole bunch of waltzes. with all the notes correct. Even there. And of course I practiced this scale that goes from C to A. Practiced it many times and never really felt confident about it being perfectly accurate every time. The reason I practiced it so many times is that Richard Strauss wrote a xylophone part for his opera Salome, where you have to play C to A very fast, about that speed. And it's often asked on orchestral excerpt lists, so I've practiced it off and on for years, seeing if I can get myself to play a clean scale every time. But alas, not every time do I play it so cleanly. Let's skip ahead here. Bunch of scales were fun. When I do this sequence through all of the variations, it sounds really predictable. So that's at least information for me here. It's a cool little gesture. And this is pretty easy, just one of the hands stays in one place, the other just moves. You're just moving in these small clusters. It's always easier to play short little bursts of notes than long strings of fast notes. And the further away from the center of my body I am, the harder it is. That said, I keep expanding further to the side, one side or the other. Alright, how long is this going to go on? Still doing scales. Almost exclusively scales for 12 minutes here. Alright, when am I going to be done with the scales? Ah, there we go. Nice B and F. Still going. Ah. There we go. What is that, an A? I've got that A pedal up top. A minor. Okay. This is something similar to what I did last night, but it's not rocking nearly as much as I thought it did. That's kind of a cool thing where you're scales are just, they grab me. Even just walking up a minor scale, walking down it, I'm in. Like, what is it you're trying to tell me with this minor scale? So having an A pedal is pretty good. I'm gonna get these mallets so I can this A and E. And then go into G major. It's pretty nice. Very common chord motion. Some rhythm in A minor, repeat the rhythm in G minor. It's a nice effect. Just one hand motion. I've done that many times. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. This is mostly technical work. All right, back to C major, back to A minor. Rather than completing the melody, I just start doing a sequence. Okay. Let me back up a little bit to here. So we had a G pedal in there. Like that, ya da 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 da, do re mi re re, with a G, G G G G, so 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 so, with the G pedal, da 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 da, so 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 la la ti do re mi re re, that do re mi re re. So la, in the context of A minor, it's pretty nice. Glad I found that live button. Didn't know about that before. Oh wow, this is about 30 minutes of improvising. My goodness, am I loving the sequences on this improvisation. That's the big reason it wasn't a very compelling improvisation. Sticking with so many sequences and not coming up with any melodies. to speak of. At least no memory. Excuse me. No compelling, memorable melodies. Yeah. It's good to be rested, but I have to find the... I guess I don't have to find the inspiration. I went for it, didn't find it. Anything in here? Now we're going to do another sequence. I remember this moment. I was like, am I going to start brainstorming for the comedic choral piece I was saying I wanted to write yesterday? Nope, I'm just going to be doing a sequence here. With a hazy connection from one group of 4 notes to the next. It's like, this one, and then I don't know which one that's going to be. Yeah, I'll skip ahead a little bit here. Something in imitation of Derek Taiwaniak's happenstance there. Alright, we got rhythmic stuff, that'd be no problem. And I did 5 more minutes of rhythmic improvising. Ooh, yes, this is a fun sequence. When you slow a sequence down, it's kind of nice. So you get that pull. Let me just stay in A minor. Fooled me. I thought we were going to C major there. I turn the click back on. I cannot get away from doing sequences. Just walking my way up the scale. Oh my gosh. I do like seconds, especially major seconds, but even the minor second. Kind of a fun groove. This is nothing I haven't made before. It's not something I've really written down into a piece before, but it is something, sort of a go-to texture for my improvising. It's a cut on my finger. But go-to texture for improvising. So I'm not going to write anything down there. So it's just alternating between rhythmic and then rhythmic things sort of syncopated, and then both of them landing together and there's the simultaneity that helps propel the next harmonic shift. And you sit on 2 notes. propelling to the next shift of notes. Trying to fill in the triad with just 2 mallets. With 4 mallets, you might just do those as simultaneous. Cha 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 cha. Have a third or something sitting in the right hand. That's pretty cool. You hear that with the metronome. What's that sound like if I put that in 4/4 and then go in the same spot? That's kind of cool. Chat, chat, you hear it? Chat, 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 chat. I like that little rhythmic thing. Chat, 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 chat. So yeah, chat, 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 chat. So it's 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4, which is 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. I'm gonna count my threes over here. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. So there's 8 plus 6 is 14. So that's like a groove in 7. Chat 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 chat. That's worth writing down, I think. Let me find a notebook. It's a lined paper notebook. 2020. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me unplug here. We actually got one tiny piece of gold in a 7-meter. I'm going to punch this down. Just going to put it on this side here. All right. Groove. That says grove. Groove in 7. You have yada da 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 yada da 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 da. Let me see if that's correct. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. So if you put a clap over the top of that, oh, I see. That's pretty awesome. It's kind of a nice Cascara in 7, but da 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 don't got da 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 da. So don't have a cowbell here, but something like. So that's the type of groove that I could move around the keyboard. So I can do then something like. things I like about that rhythmic groove, you have activity. It really follows the same idea as that improvisation where I was like, rhythm, 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 together, and the simultaneity sort of signals it's time to move to the next group of notes, so the next harmony. That you can move sort of slowly through the harmonic progression. Anyway, and I could either do simultaneity or I could do little ripple of notes. So cool, we actually did find a nugget in this thing. Let's keep on going. Mission accomplished. I was getting kind of discouraged there. Took till 26 minutes in to have a nugget. That's nice. And we're just going to do some A minor. The rhythm's trying to come back. Nice big 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. Excuse me. When I discovered this, what I was doing here, by the way, was shifting my beating spot on that low C to the center to bring out the overtone. And what you can hear in this moment, where I'm hitting the low C with this high E, so that would be 1, 2 octaves, 3 octaves plus a third. So 3 octaves plus a third. I was like, let me hear if I can find that overtone. And I thought it was 2 octaves and a third, but I think it might actually be 3. Because what you can hear is the overtone from the C being out of tune with the fundamental of this. And that makes sense. This is the whole reason that musicians who have fine tuning ability, like string players, wind players, and brass players, if they're playing a major chord, they're going to lower the third. So E is the major third. It's the third of the C major chord. You have C, E, and G. Well, they'll lower the third because the overtone of the C, where that E is located, is up a few octaves. That overtone naturally is slightly lower than the fundamental of the third on the keyboard. So what I was doing here was listening. I was like, how gnarly is this going to sound? And it sounds gnarly. Listen to this. So there's 2 octaves and a third. You can hear that clash. That note is contained within that C. But we can't really hear it very well. I think I would have to put on, let's see if I can put on a filter. I'm going to put a EQ8 on here, and we're going to do high pass. And somewhere in this range, right? So it's right in this area. Actually, instead of high pass, let's do one of these. Yeah, and actually let's do it like this. right around here, and then 8 put here will make that low pass, and then we're going to make 2 a high pass. So we can do this. All right, excellent. Don't have to make that any louder. It's 8 that's the high pass, 2 that's the low pass. Okay. Wish I could zoom in on this. Well, you can kind of see the overtone. All right, look on this spectrogram. So there's the E, and there it is in the overtone. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You get to here. Let me do this. That's the reason. Okay. That makes sense. So that's actually an E flat in that octave. That's what's going on. So that's what I had thought. Initially I had thought, I thought it's 2 octaves plus a third. Yes, it is. You go to the 3rd octave, you get the minor 3rd as the overtone. So you can hear that E flat, and that's going to clash with me actually hitting an E. So this is the note. Now that I've filtered it out, you can hear this is the overtone that's contained within there. Now I turn this off, you can see the full spectrum. Wait a second, I turned the filters off, and you can see the full spectrum of that C. So here's the fundamental way down here, and this is the overtone up here that I'm looking at. See how prominent that overtone is? There's another prominent overtone there. And that major 3rd is probably this one. Would I be able to? I don't think I can get this note in here. That was somewhere back here, right? Okay, so that's good to know. It's another good sonic discovery on the marimba. On paper, it looks like the C and the E, separated by 3 octaves and a third, would be consonant with one another, but because of the prominence of that E flat overtone, they clash with one another, especially if I am, as I was during that improvisation, hitting the center of the bar, which brings out the high overtones. It's sometimes called the antinode. All right, we'll just keep going from there. Now that we had that little exploration of the sonic properties of the marimba. And then I just wrapped it up. Okay. Did I come up with anything even remotely sounding like an ending? Yeah, kind of. Ending on a C. All right. I don't know that I really need to save any of this. I'm going to just probably pull this one back up next time. All right, so that's the improvisation part of today's live stream. It took longer than I realized it was going to. Let me pull up my compositions, wind band, and 4/16. Yeah, so back in April, John Blaine, my mentor over at the Chicago Musicians Union, helped me out and converted my band score from Finale, which I no longer have when I had to reboot my OS. I lost Finale. There's no more versions of it anyway, so I was like lamenting that I didn't have this band score because I had worked pretty hard on it. I have a lot of edits to do. I worked hard writing it before I started my master's. Then I met with Dr. Tom Boo at NIU and said, hey, can you go over this band score? I wrote it for students in Hoffman Estates High School where I was playing. The band director said, this is way too hard. And it was clear that I didn't know how those wind instruments worked, having never played one. No surprise there. But he went over range things with me and instrumentation things with me. So I edited it on paper. I used my score and X'd things out and wrote things in, and I have to find my score. Let me set up the page here. 17 by 11, that's good. All right, I'll be right back to switch gears to score editing mode. So we're taking a little break here. I gotta go to the bathroom, sort of find this score where I have my edits written. Awesome. Got a message. That's good. So I have to find my score where I have all those edits written, and then I can do a little bit of work getting started on editing that. I've got a few months to get this done, but I want to get it started today because I just took stock of my application requirements for these schools yesterday, starting to narrow down my list of schools. All right, at any rate, I'll be right back. All right. Do I have the microphone on? Yeah, I've got it on. This might take me a little bit to locate the score. Make sure it's not just chilling underneath here. First thing I'm going to do is tear down some of my recording equipment, put my marimba away, and give myself some more space in the room. All right. Biggest thing, getting this trap table put away. All right, I located my score. Yay. So this has all the pencil markings on it with the edits I need to make. This is really the second time I've edited this, but that's the that's the nature of learning how to do something. You typically do it wrong the first time in some way or another. And then you build upon what you did right. You consult people who have done it before, ask them what they think of what you've done. They typically say, wow, you put a lot of work into this. How about you change all of these 150 things or something like that. You put a lot of work in this. Great job. You should change these. You should spend another 20 hours editing it so it's even better. Dr. Boo also was able to give me a lot of insight into the psychology of writing for band. And what I mean by that is consistently from one band to the next, similar personalities gravitate toward the same instruments. I fit the profile for a percussionist in many ways. And one thing that unifies percussionists typically is a willingness to explore things you've never done before. He said, referencing some of the very high clarinet notes that I wrote, the nature of the personality of most clarinetists is to see a high note that they've never played before and stop playing and say, I don't know how to play that note. Never played it before. He said the personality of the vast majority of trumpet players is to see a high note that they've never played before and try. So that among high schoolers, you can write as high a trumpet note as you want. There's no guarantee that they're going to be able to play it. In fact, you go too high and they likely won't be able to play it, except the very best, most accomplished players. But you will get some kind of sound. That's just one example. We talked about many details like that. And those details are reflected in my edits that I ended up making. And now, I'm going to look at the score and see if I can get a few edits done. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Not today. I just want to get the project started. And then next week I might spend the bulk of my live stream working through such edits. First thing I'm going to do is figure out how to stop hiding empty staves. This away. All right, I've got my studio back. It is no longer in recording mode, it is now in score edit mode. All right, format. Let me just see if I hit hide, empty. The help feature on MuseScore is totally useless. I've never been able to find anything based on a help search. What I wanted to say is hide empty staves. You type that, empty staves. Nothing. No results found. Even though I know this thing can unhide empty staves. Oh, here we go. Score appearance. Automatically hide all empty staves. Nope. We don't want that. All right. We've got a Rogue pianissimo sitting up here. And we're going to have a lot of artifacts like that. Don't know where that pianissimo came from, but we're going to get rid of it. Boom. Opens up with Trudging 76. Then what do we have down here? We have and we were going to double this in the bassoon as well, right? Oh my goodness. All right, looking at my notes here. Triangle. Great. We want to put a little slur on there with the LV. And then we'll come back to figuring that out. Hard plastic mallet. Cool. We've got a lot of details that have come through. Jump down here. Needs to say copyright. Format. View. Tools. Edit. File. Project properties, I think. There we go. Joe Bareback. Copyright 2022. Joe. Not Jose. Joe Bareback. Movement title. I love the ground whereon she stands. Yeah, definitely pizzicato on the double bass. Yes, okay. So we may or may not have a double bass, but we've got bass drum and marimba. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, it should start out with bass drum. We have the bass clef. You can. I don't want to hide all of them. I just want to hide the one. There shouldn't be a key signature in percussion clef, but I see that I have it even here on the score I printed with finale. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is going to take a while. Let me, however, look here. And I have contrabass clarinet. Edit. Let's replace this instrument with bass, clarinet in contrabass, clarinet in E flat. What do they call it? Contra alto. Right, contra alto. Let's go to common concert band. We want contra alto clarinet in E flat, an octave lower than the E flat alto clarinet. Exactly. So that's what we want. Boom. Now you undo that. Alright, this is in B flat. Redo that. Contra alto clarinet. So if that's in E flat, our key signature is A flat. So that's going to be Why am I blanking here? We're in F minor. They're showing us to be in D minor. Why? Because you're... Let me just see this all in concert pitch for the time being. Yeah, and they're like, okay, you want this in concert pitch? Well, we're going to tell you that this here is in, what is still in treble clef. What the heck pitch is this? Oh, I am rusty on my transpositions. Let me pull out my jazz arranging book here. See what it says. Transpositions. Mike Tomorrow and John Wilson. Here we go. Wind instruments. 175. All right. Yeah. Of course, jazz arranging is going to start with saxophone, and that will help me out. Right. Now, let me jump. We have clarinets. Good. Soprano. Bass clarinet. And then he doesn't even touch on the alto clarinet, contra-alto clarinet. Talking about flutes here. Clarinets. Soprano clarinet is typically referred to simply as clarinet, pitched in B flat. Transposes up a major second, I know that. I'm going to ignore this for now. Is this helpful at all? Is this an F? A, F. This is an F, D, B, G, F. Yeah, it's an F. Get rid of that. So D down to F is a sixth. Yeah. So it's a sixth lower plus an octave. That makes sense. So that would make it a 13th lower. Going from D to F would be, that's a major 13th lower, I think. Okay. Now, what I had written in my notes is that I want to double the contra-alto part. So that was my first change, was changing it to a contra-alto part. I want to double that in the bassoon. Okay. Now what I don't remember is whether I was combining any of these parts onto staves. I think I will be combining the horns, 1 and 3, 2 and 4. Maybe that's the first thing I need to do, but maybe not. What is this down here? Oh yeah, I was switching it. One of the things I did was to reduce it down to 2 clarinets, right? 2 clarinet parts. Was it a single bassoon part? Possibly. So the contralto part is doubled in the bass clarinet for right now. It's going to be doubled in other parts of the band in case someone doesn't have a contralto clarinet. Okay, we can do this. Okay, and we know the clarinet parts are going to be reduced down to 2 parts. The flutes are also going to be reduced. Oh, here we go. Yeah, clarinets are going to be 2 parts with occasional divisi. Two trumpets, and then the horns are going to be reduced as well. I have the flute. Yeah, okay, the bassoon is doubled if available. Alright. And I've got my page references from the Samuel Adler orchestration book. Alright. So we know, I guess I still have all 3 flute parts and piccolo. Bassoon's going to be 1 part, clarinet's just going to be 1 and 2. I've already changed to contralto. Trumpets are just going to be 2 parts. Horns are just going to be 2 parts. And so once you do those reductions, then you'll come back and change the layout. Alright, with that in mind, I'm going to take this here and clarinet 3, this whole thing, including the next 2 measures. Those will be copied down into horn, which is here. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's the first page. How much of this am I going to do? I don't think I'm going to do too much more. This has already been adjusted. Okay, there's a few things that have been adjusted already. Great. So, we got the project started. That's all I wanted to do today. I wanted to locate where the score was in my room, reacquaint myself with the reduced score, and make my first edits. The project's begun. I have a few months to complete it, and that'll wrap up what I'm working on today in our live stream, our composer's workshop. See if anyone's popped in with questions. Not today. Just double check here. Go back to live. Yep. All right. No questions today. So, I will probably come back working on this editing next week. Might be a little bit of a boring week, but it's important work for me since my career trajectory goes through getting a doctorate. Because I'd like to teach in a tenure track position. That'd be nice. I know there's not too many available, but the only way to pursue it is to get a doctorate. And I like music. Otherwise I wouldn't still be doing this, right? All right. So, working on a band score throughout the week. Actually, this week, one of my priorities is probably potentially completing a grant application. And continuing to make music, getting my feet underneath me. We got the studio up and running. Heard from from one of my students who took a break from the summer that she's possibly going to be starting up again, which would be exciting for me to get a student going here. If any of you are interested in composition lessons or percussion lessons or Ableton Live lessons, you can contact me through my website, joebearback.com. And if any of you want to support this and have the means to do so, head on over to patreon.com/joebearback. Link should be in the description below. And you can sign up for tiers as low as $1 a month. And your support will help me tremendously as I continue to develop my career, because the bills don't stop coming. And I've had to get pretty creative about reducing the number of bills and meeting the bills that I have. So, those things taken care of. Summarizing, improvising helps us keep alive that intuitive relationship to music, alongside that analytical mind. And we did a little bit of both today. A lot more on the intuitive side today. We've done a lot more on the analytical side in recent weeks. At any rate, however you're experiencing music, my mission is to help you see that you have tools to express yourselves musically. And others do as well. Our greatest tool is our ears. That's why the slogan of Joe Bareback Music is listen and wonder. So, until next week, I'll be here again Wednesdays at noon. And until then, listen and wonder.